This past weekend, I teamed up with my cousin for our first online game jam. The challenge? Make a game in 48 hours. The theme? Only one. We started the brainstorm right away and came up with several mechanics, but none of them felt right. After almost an hour, our main idea was chosen, only one platform. The story was about an Area 1 raid and a baby alien that escaped the lab. Initially, the idea was that you could switch platforms to serve different purposes, like one that repels missiles, another that breaks obstacles, but the time was short and we had to drop this feature. We began sketching our little alien and got the final version ready to animate. Since we had no full-time artist, keeping it simple was the main rule. I quickly made a prototype to test the platform mechanics. It kinda worked. The platform was stuttering and clipping through the player, but we decided to leave it like that for now. We agreed that the player should not be able to stand on the platform permanently. So I made an health bar, and when the player is touching the platform, he loses health. Late into the night, brain and eyes tired, I had the brilliant idea to start working on a wall jumping. Needless to say, I couldn't get it to work and went to sleep instead. The morning after, I dove deep into the code in full power. The idea is simple. When the player collides with a vertical wall, I draw 3 raycasts that check for collision. If any ray collides, it means we are attached to a wall, and then you can jump. My cousin made the wall ride sprite and we got the wall jump foundation working. With our mechanics prototyped, we began level design. My cousin worked on level 1 while I made some quick art. Soon we had our first level prototype ready. We also decided to allow the player to wall jump on the floating platform. Let's say our first iteration went really bad. I knew this was going to be a bit challenging to achieve, due to the platform and character having constant movement. In the meanwhile, my cousin found another dev that had a really similar idea to ours. He was super nice and shared some code that prevented platform clipping. The problem with the clipping was that we were moving the platform using transform.position. The solution is to use the rigid body move position. Here is all the code needed to control the platform. But since we had no clipping, it was not possible to launch the player upwards to the moon, so we fixed that. It was time to assemble the lab background for level 1. We also wanted to make a vertical level where you could wall jump to the end. At this point, my cousin was building level 3 that featured a new trap, homing missiles. I followed Bracky's tutorial on homing missiles to make them chase the player. They begin to chase only after seeing the player, with the help of a box collider trigger, and they get destroyed once you hit them with the platform. We needed menus, so we added some. Quickly created a level selection, intro, main menu scenes, and added some animations. It was now time to take care of the sound. A friend of mine made the main menu music, and I used BFXR for the sound effects and Bosca Coil for the level theme. After programming the sound and softened some edges, we were finally ready to submit. And the conclusion is that it was a great experience. I'm so happy we delivered in time. We learned that if our next game has as much hard work as this one, we need to get an artist. It was also nice to explore new mechanics. Future game ideas could be born from this game. I have always been amazed by watching games progress from prototype to release. The decisions made, the obstacles faced, the art iterations, all of that shapes the final product into something actually playable, despite being fun or not. Sometimes it can be as slow as watching a tree growing, but it's always fascinating. The game's itch.io link is in the description. Feel free to try it and give feedback. This was the first of many. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.